Booyah! And it's time for the Game Sports Show. You're listening to the Game Sports Show on thegamesportshow.podbean.com or on the website, thegamesportshow.com, or even on the Scott Nason YouTube channel. It is November the 29th, 2018, and we're here live for our Northern Superior Brewing Company edition of the Game Sports Show. I want to say thank you to the listeners for stopping on by here tonight. I have Justin Hykel and Dane Hanchrow joining us here tonight, and also Scott Nason is our board operator tonight. And also, if you're listening through the show through Facebook, that connects you to Podbean. I want to say thank you for clicking on us on Facebook or through our Instagram. You can follow us on Instagram at the Game Sports Show SSM, or check us out on Facebook at the Game Sports Show to follow us for your needed updates for the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show. We have an action-packed show as always here on the Game Sports Show, as we do every show. Doesn't matter if it's the Monday show, the Wednesday show, the Thursday show here at Northern Superior Brewing Company, or our special edition uploads from Icebreakers, or in the summer from Silver Creek. We always bring you the most up-to-date sporting news locally and professionally. I have Justin Hykel and Dane Hanchrow who's going to be joining me in just a few moments. I am just going to get through this usual introduction portion and get through the agenda of the Game Sports Show here tonight at Northern Superior Brewing Company. We have Kaelan O Flynn coming by after this first break, whom is a defenseman for the Soo College Cougars hockey team, whom are playing in the D3 of the ACHA. Kaelan's going to come on by and talk about the season so far for the Cougars and also upcoming games as the Soo College Cougars play home here in Sault Ste Marie at the Rankin, the John Rhodes, and the GFL Memorial Gardens for the next 3 weekends, respectively. So make sure you get your pen and paper ready or your phones ready to record down those times, as we'll be discussing with the Soo College defensemen there and also discussing their games. As the Game Sports Show, we'll be talking about the Soo College Cougars in and throughout here on the Thursday shows or on the special edition uploads from Icebreakers, a sports bar and grill. And after we talk to Kaelan, we're going to be talking about some local hockey here in Sault Ste. Marie with the upcoming schedule for the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds and the Soo Thunderbirds. We're just going to talk about those schedules, a little bit of an update. And then after that, we're going to be talking about the National Hockey League with updates and many topics throughout the National Hockey League. And we're going to bring back our multiple choice segment as well with the professional hockey discussion. And before we conclude the show, we're going to be talking updates through the MLB. And people out there are like, hey, the MLB season is over, but hey, the off season has begun. And if you are unaware, Josh Donaldson is now an Atlanta Brave. So we're going to be talking about a little bit of that and some other MLB news before we wrap up tonight's show. I'm going to slide over to the man who's over to my left right now, the one, the only, Justin Hykel, wearing a newer sweater, I think, tonight. It may not be, but it looks new. It doesn't look faded at all. Not saying you wear faded clothing at all there, Justin, but it looks fairly new, this shirt. You're actually matching between the shirt and the hat, enjoying a nice beverage here from Northern Superior Brewing Company. Justin, how you doing, my friend?
A little weirded out after the clothing update. Oddly specific, but I'm here. Another week. We made it.
Now I'm going to go to the guy in front of me, and you and I both are still alive, Dane. We've been living together almost now a month since you moved in. I'm going to say you're a good roommate. You're not matching for your clothes here tonight, but you're also enjoying a nice beverage here, courtesy of Northern Superior Brewing Company. Thanks for coming on by here tonight, pal.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed that my attire is not as nice as Justin's. Good thing there's no cameras for tonight's show.
Pretty soon, my friend, when we do some special live editions on Facebook, or when we do some bonus live editions through some radio or through some TV. You never know. You got definitely a look for both radio and TV, though, Dan. I'll give you credit. Justin, you too. Give you guys a little bit of credit. Now, as I was saying at the top of the show, we have an action-packed show as always, and I'm pretty excited to be talking about the Soo College Cougars hockey team. You know, this all started based on just a Facebook message that I had with Kaelan O Flynn, someone whom I play hockey with in the Mayor's Open League in town. I've coached him. He plays for Soo College. He had to text his coach, Mike Hall, to make sure he was able to come on the show, and we're hoping to be able to get some more staff and players of Soo College on to promote the Soo College hockey because it's an absolute deep roster. Let me tell you, the team is doing absolutely phenomenal as well. And we're going to be talking about the Soo College Cougars in terms of coming back and coming to play games here in Sault Ste. Marie at the Rankin, the John Rhodes, and the GFL Gardens. Now, I'd be a fool if I didn't bring up Kaelan O Flynn's stats. okay, as he's about to enter here at Northern Superior Brewing Company, okay? Because everybody that knows O'Flynn knows that his ego's a lot like mine. We got some big egos. But he's a good guy overall. Kaelan O Flynn's stats this year, the defenseman has 2 goals and 18 assists for 20 points in 14 games. And to go through other quick stats, Ryan Vennerman, 27 goals, 18 assists for 45 points. Mark Cassoni has 28 with 7 goals and 21 assists respectively. And a shout out to Austin Rowe, 11 goals and 10 assists as well for 21 points. A lot of impressive numbers there. Now the reason why I'm bringing up these statistics prior to bringing in Kaelan is because the main objective is to be discussing the Soo College Cougars as a team, because there is no I in team, as many of big coaches of mine that were idols were saying as when I was a kid. When I heard that, it seemed like the coaches seemed so smart saying that, but it's such a cliche thing to say. Hey, Justin, there's no I in team?
There's definitely no I in team, Dave. That is grammatically correct.
Dane, I'm going to ask you one thing. When you were playing hockey, did you always care about the logo on the front besides the name on the back?
Yeah, it looked nice when you had a couple goals, like a couple stats here and there, but obviously the most important thing is team when it comes to playing hockey.
Yeah, you know what? I'd like to loosen up here at the table a lot. You can ask Justin in the summer in our special edition shows. I would have to ask him icebreaker questions, which is ironic because now we do special edition shows at Icebreaker Sports Bar in the Soo. And another funny tip, would you guys believe that I actually coached the guy who's just coming through the door and plays for Soo College now, Kaelan O Flynn? Dane, do you believe that I coached him?
I'm just surprised that anybody lets you coach, it allows you to be a coach, but I imagine you did an okay job.
I don't know if that's a spear at me or if it's at the Blind River Beavers organization yet. We'll definitely be hearing a little something from that if that's towards that. But, fellas, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I'm going to bring in the guy who just walked in, Kaelan O Flynn. And we're going to be talking about the Soo College Cougars hockey before our next break. And then when we come back after that, we'll be talking about the local hockey and professional hockey scene when it comes to the needed updates. A lot of updates when it comes to hockey, especially locally. And it all starts with bringing in Kaelan talking about Soo College Cougars. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Twin Sault's only local regional national sports show, the Game Sports Show. Be right back. Welcome back to the Game Sports Show. Yours truly, David McCaig, live on location here at Northern Superior Brewing Company. You're listening to the Game Sports Show on thegamesportshow.com or on the Podbean page, thegamesportshow.podbean.com, or on the Scott Nason YouTube channel. Dane and Justin are going to take a little break here as I bring in guest, friend of mine, and also somebody I used to coach. Little giggle probably from everybody there. Kaelan O Flynn, defenseman for the Soo College Cougars. Flinner, how you doing, buddy?
Great today, Kegger. Thanks for having me.
Welcome to the show, pal. I know you've been bugging me in the locker room as you and I now play together on the Mayor's Open League for the Game Sports Show. The first place Game Sports Show, mind you. Very happy you were able to come by to Northern and come on the show and talk Soo Cougars, bud. You guys are having a great season so far. You guys are 12-2-1 on the season. That's a .773 winning percentage. Everyone wants to get down to the math. Conference games are 8-2-1. Away, you're 9-2-1. And now finally, you guys are going to be home this for the next 3 weekends. But before we dive into that, just talk about the Soo College program in general, the hockey program there, coached by Mike Hall. How's everything going?
Well, Mike Hall and Marky Bear have definitely put in a good group. We got a lot of guys from the NOJHL, a lot of old junior A guys. We got a couple kids from down south near the Toronto area, and he brought up a couple guys from Thunder Bay as well. So the group they got together here is pretty special. I mean, you look at our forward chart, 1 through 10, 1 through 12, all our guys are pretty strong. We have a lot of experience on the back end as well, and we have Brian Clement and Drew Gregory in net. So throughout the whole roster, I mean, we don't really see any weak points on our team. We're just looking to get better every day. Other than that, I mean, the season's been good so far. It was fun going on road trips. I mean, we have 30 away games, so it's nice to be at home for the next 3 weeks and show us our fans what we're made of.
It's another team that here people in Sault Ste. Marie can watch. You got the Hounds, you have the Thunderbirds, you got the Soo College Cougars, and technically we got our good old friends across the border with the Soo Eagles as well, and even Blind River Beavers pretty close by. A lot of hockey close by, and as you said, your team is pretty deep. Ryan Vennerman is the captain of your squad, assistant captain Austin Rowe, and net you have Clement. And Vennerman's having a hell of a season too. We've seen those articles online as well, even through Randy Russell mentioning how many points he has going through up to this point in the season. How big of an effect does he have on the squad, Vendy?
Well, Ryan playing with the Sarnia Sting in the OHL for 2 seasons brings a lot of leadership and a lot of veteran experience that he likes to teach all the young guys, the ins and outs of the games, what to do in the corner, that sort of thing. But Ryan's not a big vocal guy in the locker room. I know he is the captain. He's more of a lead by example sort of player, and obviously if you watch him every other night, you can see why.
Yeah, you know what? Vendy's a very special talent. We get the chances to see him not only for the Cougars but also out when we play, and definitely some special hands. The guy can stick handle in the phone booth.
That guy's been stick handling since the age of 9. I figure he hasn't been doing much training off ice. The only thing his dad's got him doing is with that ball stick handling back and forth. So those hands are next to almost Patty Kane. Like it's amazing.
Mike Hall, you had him when you were with the North Stars, right? When you were there. So how special is it for you to have Mike Hall there, back, someone who you're familiar with?
Well, he's one of the reasons why I came back to the Soo and decided to play for the Soo College Cougars. I mean, my year with Mike with the North Stars was one of my best years for developing as a player on and off the ice, and Mike knows how to take care of his players on and off the ice as well, and he knows how to fire them up when he needs to.
So now, obviously, being a part of the hockey program there, you do have to go to school there too, right? So what tell the listeners the program you're taking and everything there.
So right now, I'm in police foundations in Soo College. I'm going to be in my first year. The past 3 years, I've been doing a university degree at Carleton University. So hopefully, with combining both of them, I can do a forensic psychology or even just be a cop at that point.
Nice. Definitely being a police officer in Sault Ste Marie is great employment for sure. And you got a good group of guys in that locker room now. Going into now, get to show the talent, not only because of the good guys in the locker room, the deep roster that you have. Now you get to show people in town what this team is really made of. That big 12-2-1 record. You are home for the next 3 straight weekends. You mentioned you do play. You play Friday the 30th against Oakland, so that would be at the Rankin at 7:30. Then you play the first at 2:30 at the Rankin. Next weekend's at the John Rhodes, and then the following weekend you play at the Gardens against Saginaw Valley. Talk about being able to come home to play.
Well, it's just exciting because for the last couple months we've been on the road nonstop. 3 out of 4 weekends we're away from our families, away from home. This weekend we get to be at home in front of all of our friends and family. Just show them what they've been supporting us throughout this whole time. Show them what we got, and hopefully we can bring out a bigger crowd as the year goes on.
See, now the teams that you're playing, you have familiarity with the teams that you're playing against? Have you played against these guys?
Yeah, so last weekend was one of our first weekends off in a while, but the weekend before that we actually traveled to Oakland to play them.
Okay.
And then we had a weekend off, and now they're coming back here. So we're pretty familiar with what they're going to give us, what to expect. And then our third weekend at home as well, we went to a Chopin Memorial Tournament, and that was we had 3 games, and I believe that was the third team we played, and we only beat them 7-4. So we're hoping for some competitive games. We're not looking to play the weaker end teams. We're looking to show everyone in the States what Soo College is all about.
See, now you're playing at 3 different arenas, which is, I think, awesome. The Rankin, you got the John Rhodes, and the GFL Memorial Gardens. 3 different ice pads completely. You got the John Rhodes, who I'd like to compare the old side of the roads to the Rankin. I really don't see similarities. I think the ice is completely different. But how do you guys adapt to playing on 3 different ice surfaces? Do you think that's a plus, or do you think that could be a little bit of disadvantage?
I believe our team's built on many ways. If you want to play the grit game with us, if you want to play the skill game with us, we could play anywhere. We could play big open Olympic ice. We could play the small body short ice. We're pretty adapted to playing both ices, but it's a pretty cool experience to play at all the rinks in the Soo. Hopefully, if some people can't get out to the Rankin, they can get out to the GFL Memorial Gardens or whatever like that.
John Rhodes.
Yeah, so the John Rhodes, whatever they can get out to. So we're just hoping that we can show all our viewers that we can play on any ice.
Couple more things, Kaelan. You got, and again, that's this Friday the 30th against Oakland at the Rankin at 7:30. Then Saturday the 1st against Oakland at 2:30 p.m. at the Rankin. Next weekend, the Friday the 7th, Davenport at 8 p.m. at the Rhodes. And then Saturday the 8th against Davenport at the Rhodes at 12 noon. And then again the following weekend, Friday the 14th against Saginaw Valley at 8 p.m. at the Gardens. Then Saturday the 15th against Saginaw Valley at the Gardens again at 3 p.m. Now, a couple more things, like I said, I want to jump into is the price for admission to come watch. How much does it cost for people to come watch the Cougars?
So to buy a ticket, the flat rate is going to be $5 for everyone. Students at Soo College get in for free, and if you bring in anyone under the age of 12, they're also getting in for free. Last year, they said they got around 400 or 500 fans, so hopefully with a more impact team, we can bring more of a fan base.
You also have the Soo College Soo College Hockey on social media where you can follow them, and another place to keep tabs on the team for just just to keep track of schedule, results, statistics, roster, and everything. You can go to their website. That is www.soocougars.ca. And you can go /sports/ACHA, then there's a bunch more slashes after that, but you can simply just search them on Google for Soo Cougars Hockey, and you can click the first one. It goes right to their website. And if you have any issues with getting on the website, just contact myself or reach out to Kaelan on Facebook, giving people permission to reach out to you on social media. And we will send you the link so you can print off the calendar. We know we had a friend here at Northern Superior Brewing Company who, when we brought up the website, already took a picture of it. So definitely a good, catchy website, attractive, very simple to follow. It gives you the date, the team they're playing, and then the result when the game's done. I think that's pretty simple to follow, don't you think?
Oh, it's definitely simple to follow. I mean, easy website for sure. Hopefully everyone stays tuned, and hopefully we get more people out to our games.
Absolutely. Now, Kaelan, I'll let you go. I appreciate you coming by and promoting Soo Cougars hockey here on the Game Sports Show. We'll be talking more throughout the season with Soo College hockey and keep it in depth there. And hopefully we get you on the show sometime again soon, Flynn.
Thanks, Kegger. Thanks for having me.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I'm bringing back Dane and Justin. You're listening to the Game Sports Show on thegamesportshow.com, thegamesportshow.podbean.com, or the Scott Nason YouTube channel, the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Game Sports Show. Yours truly, David McCaig. I'm alongside Justin Hykel and Dane Hanchrow. I want to say thank you to Kaelan O Flynn for coming on by to talk about Soo College Cougars hockey and their successful season thus far. Very excited to be covering a lot of the Soo College Cougars throughout the rest of the season here on the Thursday edition or the special edition upload at Icebreakers, powered by Northern Superior Brewing Company as well. And a special shout out to Blake Winter. He has a beautiful stash right now, and he's in the background. He's been pouring these nice, beautiful beers for myself, Dane, and Justin for the night. I know Dane and Justin are enjoying some red maple right now, and I'm enjoying a nice 17. It's great beer here at Northern Superior Brewing Company, as you all should know by now. If you don't know it, then I don't understand how you wouldn't know it. But the brewmaster, one and only Blake Winter, shout out to this guy, as he is the heart and soul inside this little nice tap room that they have here at Northern Superior Brewing Company, and just in general here at Northern Superior Brewing Company. I'm looking over at him right now, and he gives me just a little grin. And pretty soon I'll have Blake on the show when the time is right to bring him on to talk about some of the beers and potential new beers that are going to be launched at Northern Superior Brewing Company. Fellas, without further ado, we're going to be talking about some local hockey here by yours truly. I'm going to give a little update, as we do have I like to say special edition upload one. Really, it's not really going to be special edition if it's going to happen every week, as we're going to have editions at Icebreakers Sports Bar throughout the entire hockey season, either on Saturdays or Sundays, where we're going to be covering everything local. Here on the Thursday show, we're going to be covering local as well, but we're going to be covering it more in depth, right live on location, on scene, from Thunderbird games, from Greyhound games, from Sioux Eagle games as well, and also now the Soo College Cougar games. You get right on live on location interviews, and also get recap from yours truly and Brad Kochmilio, and also when possible Dane and Justin will be on location as well, getting all the interviews from the coaching staff and players right after games, post game, and also just coverage and updates when it comes to the local scene right in depth. But don't worry, we're still going to be covering it here on the Thursday show, and diving right into that. The Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds going to go first. They're currently in action against Windsor. They're just getting underway in the first period as we are recording here at Northern Superior Brewing Company. Big game for the Hounds. Big road trip in general, playing in Windsor, Saginaw, and then a home against Flint. And the Hounds are obviously, as I mentioned, in Windsor right now. They play Saturday in Saginaw at 7:05. And then Sunday they play in Flint at 2 o'clock. And then they're back here home on Wednesday, December the 5th. Yours truly and also potentially Scott Nason plan to be live on location for that Wednesday game as the Hounds take on Flint. And also next weekend, they are back home, is when they are back home for their set of weekend games against Guelph on Friday the 7th. And then on Sunday the 9th, they play against the Barrie Colts. So again, home Wednesday 7:07 against Flint, Friday 7:07 against Guelph, and home Sunday December the 9th at 2:07 against the Barrie Colts. The Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds, Barrett Hayden, Morgan Frost, to go say those are 1-2 punch when it comes to centers in the league. The Hounds get Valalza back after a freakish injury. And I did talk about it on the show on Monday live from the Wicked System, how big of an impact it is to have Villalta back. Just a quick little opinion around the table. How big of an impact is it to have Villalta back in the lineup and their number one guy? To have a number one goalie back in general for a team, Justin, that's obviously not, and that's not doubting, disrespecting any of the goalies that they currently have. But when you're missing Villalta, third-round pick of the Kings, not that that was a big reason why they had a little couple slumps games where they're inconsistent, but when you get Villalta back, that's a pretty big back to have.
Well, it's definitely a huge boost for the players because those guys have a certain confidence with
Certain goalies.
certain goalies. I mean, a guy like Villalta, they made it as far as they did. Having him, it's tricky. I mean, you even see it at the professional levels where backup goalies come in and the team isn't exactly the same. But having him back in the net now going forward, I think the team can start to play with that level of confidence again and
Yep.
keep moving up in the standings. I hope that's.
Yeah, and obviously you have that's a very tight conference the Hounds are in, and a very competitive one. London Knights are back. I know how Brad was talking about on the special edition upload on Sunday from Icebreakers that, it's going to be right down on the finish line for this team. And we were kind of talking about Rasmus Sandin maybe coming back, how crazy that might be. But maybe the Hounds are that one defenseman away from really being on top of the conference for the remainder of the year.
Well, I just really think they lost Villalta at a bad time. Like, they were so hot.
Yeah.
They were rolling then, and that happens, and it's just an
Freakish injury,
it's
too.
an unfortunate incident
Yeah.
all the way around. I mean, and like, moving on from it, they just didn't seem to kind of shake off that news in enough time where they played a lot of games in that span.
Yeah.
Because I think there was 4 or 5 home games
Yeah,
in that
there
span, and it just they didn't.
They had a
seem
tough
to,
loss to Ottawa, right?
Well, the loss to Ottawa was a bad one.
Yeah.
But they didn't seem to play with that same attitude, or I said level of confidence already, but that's what it is. It just
Good teams find ways to win, but and we're not disrespecting the goals. No, we're not.
And we're not.
But it's a different
disrespecting-
energy level.
Not
It's
disrespecting
different.
the team at all. It
No.
just they took a step back without Villalta and that. That's
big add.
Plain and simple.
Yeah, and you have potential World Junior guys, so you got to add. I know Dane would agree that Hayden and potentially Frost would be guys that you consider adding the World Juniors, don't you think?
Yeah, I look at the projection list from a couple TSN guys, and Hayden's on the team, but nowhere to be seen
Frost.
is Morgan Frost.
Why is that?
And,
Why?
He's in there as an extra. Like, people know about him, right? But I mean, you look at the guy. I think he was first in the OHL in scoring last year.
He's up there this year.
Having another good year, and minus a couple really great players with Pachuk and other guys not being with the Greyhounds this year. Still putting up points. I mean, yeah, he's going to get a look. I've seen guys before. If you look at Darnell Nurse and Max Domi back in the day that year that they didn't make it, they came back with a vengeance the following year when they were in Ottawa. They were easily the best forward in the tournament and the best defenseman in the tournament, and they ended up beating the Russians. So, I mean, if you want to make a case for Morgan Frost, they passed up on him last year. First round pick. He's 19 this year. I mean, he would be a veteran kind of guy on that team. Obviously not being on the team last year, but still, I think, obviously Canada, there's a deep roster and so many players to pick from. But it would be awesome to see both of them on the team this year. It's always good and fun to see Greyhounds play in the World Juniors.
They say it's kind of a loss for the team to lose some of your star guys, but definitely not. It's definitely a big and good experience. Like when Hayden came back from Arizona and took the impact he continues to make. When you play in that higher level and the higher competitiveness, it definitely helps you evolve, especially when you play in the junior level. The Hounds, as I mentioned, are on the road this weekend, back home next Wednesday against Flint. On our Icebreakers edition, we will be a more in-depth analysis when it comes to Sault Ste Marie Greyhounds. After their games this weekend, Brad Cochamillo will be either coming by Icebreakers this weekend or he'll be doing a phone recording interview depending on his schedule to discuss the entirety of the Hounds. Now, going into the Sioux Thunderbirds schedule, people are going to ask, Dave, how are you going to be at Icebreakers on Sunday if the Thunderbirds play on Friday? We are going to be there on Friday myself, potentially. Justin has, maybe, I know he has plans this on Friday, but he may be there, might not be. But yours truly will be there. On Sunday, we do plan to actually do the physical interview and upload, but we will be doing on-location interviews and recap, and everything will be posted on Sunday. And speaking of that Friday game, the Sioux Thunderbirds play against the Blind River Beavers at 7 o'clock. Definitely a big game. I can tell you when I was on the other side, or on the other side of the road, playing for the Birds or Beavers, that's a classic matchup between Blind River and the Sioux. Blind River has a very good hockey team as well, a hungry hockey team, and an improved organization in general. Very exciting game to watch. You got Soo College playing Friday. You have the Thunderbirds playing Friday. You have options to go watch. The Hounds are not in town. The Leafs aren't playing on Friday. You have no excuse to get out there. The weather is not expected to be an absolute blizzard from what I understand. You have enough energy to get down your stairs, open your door, start your car, truck, van, or smart car, whatever you got, or your horse wagon if you're really into Red Dead Redemption 2 like myself and Dane are. And you can get down to the John Rhodes Community Center or to the Rankin Arena to watch either the Sioux Thunderbirds play Friday against Blind River or the Sioux College play against Oakland at the Rankin. But on Saturday, the Sioux will be in Elliott Lake. That'll be a road game. So on Sunday, they finish their road trip at 2 o'clock against Espanola. And they are not home until next Saturday, where they play against Soo Michigan. A little home and home between Soo Mich, as they are at the Polar on Friday. Great atmosphere at the Polar Stadium, too. I love the Polar Stadium atmosphere. Love when the Rhodes gets to that level as well. So let's get people out to the John Rhodes to support the Thunderbirds this Friday against Blind River. Fellas, we're going to move on from the local hockey portion now, and we're going to talk about the Professional Hockey League. A lot of news when it comes to the Professional Hockey League. And, you know, I kind of want to jump right into it and get it over with right off the hop. Dane was I've almost reluctant to always continuously bring up this topic. We've been bringing up this topic since the summertime, basically. But, hey, it's news. It's hot news. The Leafs, we'll jump right into the Leafs discussion right now. Nylander is still not signed. It's November the 29th. By the time this recording is done, maybe he is signed. Maybe he's traded. Maybe by tomorrow. You got to think something's going to happen by Saturday. And we hope it's not the third option where he's not playing at all. Hopefully something gets done here. Now, on the level, I'm going to slide over to Dane. On a level of 1 to 10, 10 being pissed off, how fed up are you pissed about this Nylander news continuously being on the media? Are you fed up with it? You just want to get it done?
Well, I mean, it's not my team. I don't really care what Toronto does of Nylander. I mean, if you ask Mike Babcock, he seems pretty certain that Nylander's going to be a Leaf, and he's going to be a Leaf for a long time. You know,
see that though? Is that a thing?
He wants term and money, and it's up to Dubas to make the right deal for the team and the future of Toronto, and whether that's dealing him or signing him. I mean, I think regardless, Toronto needs to get a defenseman at some point, and you have all these young players that are gonna get paid. Mitch Marner, look at the way he's playing this year. The better Mitch Marner plays this year, the closer his contract's going to be to Austin Matthews' contract.
And we saw how Austin was last night.
This is another realm of possibility. If you look at Taylor Hall and Jordan Eberle back when they got signed the same year, they were both $6 million a year. Exactly. Nugent Hopkins, $6 million a year. And I think that obviously they weren't the right players to bring, Edmonton to the promised land. But I think that was a really great thing that Tamolini did. One of the only good things that he did was sign them all the stars to similar contracts. So, I mean, I think there might be a little bit more of a gap between Nylander and Matthews, or at least that's what, maybe that's what Toronto's thinking. I mean, it's so hard to say. I bounce back and forth between, is he going to get traded? Is he going to get signed? I mean, he could still get signed and then traded, next year or the year after that. You guys are losing Jake Gardner after this year. There's not a chance in hell I think you guys are re-signing Jake Gardner unless it takes, a hometown discount to stay in Toronto. And I mean, why wouldn't you? I think it's pained me as much pain as for me to say that, Toronto is probably going to win a Stanley Cup in the next 5 years with the squad that they have. Why wouldn't you want to be a part of that? A team that hasn't won the Stanley Cup since 1967. You're going to be a hero if you win a cup in Toronto. So, if I'm William Nylander, maybe don't ask for that term. Sign a 2 or 3 year contract. Be there when Toronto's going to be in their prime, and and they're going to contend for a Stanley Cup. And
then
you want that big money, then leave. So, yeah. I mean, I think last case Ontario,
there you go.
Nylander doesn't play the season. I have a hard time seeing that happen, but you never know. So by the time we have our show next week, we're going to have answers to the questions we've been asking for the last couple months.
I kind of sense that he's a 10 on that fed up level still, though. Justin, any thoughts?
I'm pretty over it. I mean,
do you refresh your phone every morning? Do you get up, turn on your phone, and refresh? For real, though. I get up in the morning, my alarm goes off, and I literally see if something happened overnight.
I'm at the point where I just don't care anymore. We're winning without him. I'm sure Matthews would like to have him back because he sees Tavares lighting it up with Mitch Marner all the time. I'm sure he'd love to have Nylander back. But at some point in time, you have to take into account that Nylander's not... If he was interested in being back and helping everyone succeed, he'd be there.
He's out for his number one. He's out for himself.
He's out for the cash right now. And to be completely honest, and I mean, I'm not the gigantic judge of talent here. I've just watched a substantial amount of sports in my lifetime. He hasn't done anything to put himself in a position where he can call the shots on his value. To the extent of, I want to make Taylor Hall money. Okay, we'll do Taylor Hall things and we'll talk. I want to make... And come back and do Pasternak things and we'll talk.
Well, speaking of Pasternak,
And
Pasternak
yeah,
interviewed
and
and saying that
Pasternak-
he's just happy making $6 million because he signed it a little bit earlier than maybe he should have with how he's performing right
Well,
now.
he's
And
wild.
said,
He
I
loves
could-
playing Toronto,
I
that
could
guy.
playing in Czech Republic for,
$16 a game.
Yeah,
or-
16 bucks a game. So, I mean, it's just a privilege playing in the NHL as it is. And I mean, what's the difference between, $6 million and $7 million? I know it's over term and it's going to add up, but I mean, a couple $1 million and a couple $1 million, like, I feel like what William Nylander lacks is the love of the game. Like, I don't think he cares where he plays. I don't, like...
I don't think he has a favorite team.
But does he not have faith in himself to sign a bridge deal and then light it up the next 2 seasons? Like, you're going to light it up. You're going to be playing with Matthews, Marner, Tavares. Like, you're going to get the points. Other teams are going to notice that. Like, you are going to get your payday, but why does it have to be right out of your entry league contract? So, like, I think he's a spoiled little boy, in my opinion. If I'm Toronto, I wouldn't even want him back with, all the media attention this is gaining.
I agree. I'm sorry. I know next week he might be back.
Trade one of these guys for a defenseman. You can't walk up $38 million worth of
Between Matthews, Marner,
between
Tavares.
4 forwards.
Yeah.
It's not going to leave you anything for any deck players. It's not going to leave you anything for defensemen.
You're going to be
So,
Chicago, LA after they won the cups. After they won the
I
cups.
have full faith in Dubas that he's going to make the right call, but like if the price isn't right for Dubas, he will not sign him.
I don't think the Nylander thing drives me insane. That it's got to this point, and we're a quarter mark in the season. The Leafs are what, third right now?
First
today?
in the NHL. First with
No,
Buffalo.
Buffalo's first.
It's first with Buffalo, but Buffalo's technically got the
I don't know.
tiebreak.
Is
Going
it?
into tonight.
Okay.
Going
Oh,
into tonight. Into tonight.
Okay.
Nah, like you
So
got,
when,
yeah.
When Buffalo beats Tampa tonight, Buffalo will be back in first.
Maybe. If
Not,
we do tonight.
Buffalo just fascinates me. Not to get off topic, but with the Nylander thing, would he be in a position to be demanding this much money, or even in this position at all to be demanding any money if he was still on the Randy Carlyle team that drafted him?
Would he even be as good if he didn't have Austin Matthews?
He has the luxury of playing with good players. Like what? He was the first one out of this group of guys to get drafted. If you're stuck on the team with, and I don't even want to down talk Bozak, Kadri, but if you're stuck with those guys as your 1 and 2 center, Nylander doesn't have the same seasons he's had the last couple of years because the lineup is totally different. Like you had the luxury of playing with Matthews. You have the luxury of having Mike Babcock as your coach who wants you to succeed.
I mean, you're in a dream.
Like I don't
position
understand
right now.
as a player why you would push yourself over the edge to say, well, I also want what the rumored is $7 million a season.
He wants 8.
You're not worth it.
He's
You're
not worth. Okay.
I think you got to look at his agent. I think his agent's giving him bad information because in the sense that he doesn't have any leverage. You look at how good the Toronto Maple Leafs are doing without him. They're doing well without Matthews and Nylander. Do you really think that you're a necessity on that hockey team right now? You're not.
What's their biggest area to improve?
They have weaknesses. Defense. They need defense. So they have weaknesses. The Toronto Maple Leafs, yes, they have weaknesses. I know half of the Toronto fans,
They have weaknesses. Their defense is not. You know what people say? I love this stat. I was talking to somebody, and I'm not chirping this guy because he's a superior of mine from work. He said that he did bring up a good point. He said that the Leafs defense have one of the best Corsi numbers and defensive statistic numbers in terms of getting the puck out of the zone and defensive numbers all in all. But that is fine and dandy, but that's still not this team. That D-core is not what's going to win you a Stanley Cup.
This is, and I mean,
And we got one more topic, at least, so we'll try to wrap this
Dave
up.
and I will fight in the parking lot of eternity until this death, if that made sense, over the defense topic with the Toronto Maple Leafs. I don't think our defense is that bad. What we're missing is a little bit of sandpaper. That's all we're missing.
Didn't we have it with Polak then?
Not really.
The guy's dust, but
Yeah,
no offense to
didn't,
Polak.
Didn't we have a little bit of grit with Polak? Yeah, and didn't I have a little bit of hairline left right now? Yeah, there's hair up there. Does it effective? No, it's not at all. Now, and I mean, I pitched this a few weeks ago. Swapping with Edmonton, dumping Nylander out there, and taking Lucic in that ludicrous salary. Not all of it, but just giving him a different home and seeing what he can do.
And bringing in Larson.
Even if Larson's a throw-in on this, but I'm talking about the grit,
That is
not
steep.
not a throw-in, but I'm
There's
just
no defense that's going to be heading to Toronto
No.
for Nylander. You guys can have Puljujärvi and a couple first rounders for Nylander.
But I'm talking about this from strictly a grit perspective.
Example.
You have a guy like Lucic in there. Like, look what Tom Wilson does for Washington. Washington's defense isn't.
Oh, you got to eat up half that contract if you ever go.
No,
We're getting off top. You got Lucic is another fucking. That's
I'm
Dane's
just-
problem.
I'm just-
Dave's team's problem.
I'm just saying the Leafs could use a little more grit. You don't have
They
to
could.
dump all that on.
Or
the
why
defense.
not go after Slavin, who has 5 years, $5.2 million contract? 7 years, sorry, producer Ghost. 7 years, $5.2 million. Why not go after a defenseman who's a top 3, not 4, for that cheap? And Carolina apparently is throwing him on the table. That's all I got. Nylander, the situation gets resolved next week. We'll save it for next week.
We'll trade you guys Lucic for Don Tavares' personal water bottle.
Oh, God.
If you want to take that.
I don't know. It's
Only if you
brutal
take half the
contract.
cap.
Last thing with the Leafs, Matthews returns last night. Boy, that wrist shot in that corner, that side slot, that's his office. Tavares 2 goals, Matthews 2 and assists. First star honors, Anderson playing Freddie Anderson things. Just the Morgan Riley and Mitch Marner. The play by Mitch Marner, that's what I wanted to bring up.
You mean-
Breaking his stick.
You mean the assistant?
The assistant
equipment
coach,
manager?
yeah, he breaks his stick, looks at his stick, and you can tell if you watch the video. The equipment manager was watching Marner look at his stick. That's when he went to grab his stick. It's like he knew Mitch was going to come, and when he came, the stick was done. Mitch gets the stick. Mitch goes down the ice, nice cross pass to Tavares, and it's in the goal. Tavares gets a goal there. Him and Hyman and Tavares have been playing some good hockey together, and Marner says he gives credit to that assist to their assistant equipment manager there. That was a great play to watch. In Toronto, see Matthews come back, even more scarier, that power play having him back there, hey?
I think with Matt, like every time Matthews comes back from injury, he lights it up. So I think this is my strategy here. Coach of the year strategy. Do the Kawhi thing with him. Just rotate him in and out. Comes back for a game, lights it up. Sit him for a little bit, put him back in, 4 points. Let him out, put him back in, 4 points. I mean, you've got the roster to backfill. You know, Matthews doesn't play, Marner will get.
Ray Matthews a healthy scratch every couple of games just so we can have a little rest.
Yeah, see, I like the Kawhi Leonard thing. I don't know if that's more able for
the-
basketball, but
There's one person in the world that at least likes that, and it's Freddie Gauthier.
Freddie Gauthier. Matthews, welcome back. Definitely welcomed you back in that first unit. Second unit looked pretty good out there as well, though, with Marlowe and Johansson making a nice couple tic-tac-toe play there. And Gardner looked even pretty good in that power play. You don't even got me saying that right now. Moving on from the Leafs, we got a couple points in the NHL. We're going to get to a couple points, take a break, and come back to the rest of the points before we conclude with our multiple choice segment and a little bit of MLB discussion with Josh Donaldson going to the Atlanta Braves. But get into some of the points that I want to jump into right now. Let's talk about the 3-on-3. Got a couple points written down. I'm going to go sporadic here with these couple points. 3-on-3. Got the Bruins got a pretty good 3-on-3 squad out there. You got the Avs having McKinnon, Rantanen, and I think even sometimes Landeskog goes in back there. They have defensemen back there. Also Tyson Barrie. You have the Edmonton Oilers with obviously Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Oscar Klefbom. I'm going to go Toronto's route. You got Marner, Tavares, and even Gardner out there, or you got Matthews. And if Nylander was there with Riley, pretty lethal. I want to go around the table and kind of give us a little sneak preview of how a multiple choice segment will go in terms of which team do you think has the best 3-on-3. And I'm going to start with Dane because I already know where he's kind of going with it.
The stats are there. I mean, and even when the NHL takes goals away from us in overtime, like happened the last couple nights there, or whatever, when they played, were we playing LA or not LA?
You play LA tonight.
Play LA tonight. I can't even remember who with that goal.
Well, producer goes, Scott. Your producer goes. Producer goes.
Anyways, yeah, it's the Edmonton Oilers, and I mean, it's not the Edmonton Oilers hockey team. It's one line. If you look at the stats, since Leon Draisaitl and McCaig have been in the league, I think they have 13 and 12 points just in overtime over the past 2-3 seasons. Unfortunately, there's no 3-on-3 in the playoffs, so you know that only
Dallas. That game. Producer Joe said Dallas.
You know, Mikko Koskinen getting the shutout there. We won regardless, but you know the NHL always finds a way to screw over Edmonton when the call goes upstairs, and it's just a trend. When you win one upstairs call in the last 24 calls that have gone upstairs, I'm not even going to start ranting about that. But yeah, it's the Edmonton Oilers, and you know what? I think the NHL has found a gem with the 3-on-3. Everybody likes the 3-on-3. It's exciting. I don't think it's going to become like, you know, the shootout that was popular for a while and then kind of got phased out and, you know, wasn't quite as exciting. Honestly, I would prefer the NHL just to go back to a 10-minute 3-on-3. I mean, it's hard to. It would be almost near impossible for many games to go like to a tie, having 10 minutes of 3-on-3. I think they should scrap the shootout altogether. It makes penalty shots a lot more exciting. I mean, like, you know, you see all these shootouts all the time, so penalty shots don't really have the same lust as they used to have. But yeah, Edmonton Oilers, hands down, Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid are the two best 3-on-3 players in the league. I mean, you can't.
Or is it Connor McDavid who's the best 3-on-3 guy?
You can't do it without Draisaitl there.
You don't think so?
How many 2-on-1 goals?
You don't think?
I mean, yes, Connor McDavid would be great regardless in the 3-on-3.
Fastest guy in the NHL, man.
I think there's a lot of people that think Leon Draisaitl his play is a product of just Connor McDavid. The guy can do it on his own. He's shown he's done it before. If you look at last game, did Connor get an assist on that last goal? No, it was the Draisaitl cleft bomb show. So, I mean, that's my pick. The stats are there, I think. And I love 3-on-3, and I love watching Edmonton go into 3-on-3 because you know what? I have a pretty good chance they're probably going to win if they go into overtime.
I think the NHL's got to scrap the shootout and just go 3-on-3 for 10 minutes.
So you agree with me? That would be way better.
I think so. And now, do I want to give them a tie? No, then go to a shootout maybe. I don't like ties either.
I think you can't have a shootout and the 10 minutes. I think it has to be one or the other.
One or the other. That's a good point. But 10 minutes of 3-on-3 hockey.
It doesn't matter. It's another number in the stat column in the standings. It's not a big deal.
I'll go next, Justin, before I slide over to you. I got to agree with Dane going to the Oilers route. It's pretty fucking self-explanatory. Statistics are there, right? Although I'm pretty close on choosing Boston.
One of the best.
I'm pretty close on choosing Boston, man. I can't believe I'm saying that out of my mouth, but when you got Pasternak out there and when Bergeron's healthy, those guys are smart with the puck. They're not speed. They're not McDavid speed. The IQ of that line is absolutely amazing when you got them two together and Charlie McAvoy out there together. Okay, that's a very good freaking core out there. And I'm a big fan of Pasternak. Pasternak and DeBrusk. DeBrusk, two different players than Pasternak is, but Pasternak is finding the goals right now. Bergeron being out is hurting the Bruins a little bit, leadership. I like what Bruins have when they come 3-on-3 hockey. And yes, I was pretty torn between the Avs and Leafs too. I found it all pretty tough. If the Leafs had Nylander, this would be their 2 3-on-3 lines. Tavares, Marner, Gardner. Can't believe I just said Gardner in the first one. You got Matthews, Nylander, and Riley on the second one. So that is pretty freaking lethal as well. So, and you got another line where you got to think you'd have Kadri out there with Connor Brown. And you think you'd have Kadri out there with Johansson, or even if it's Josh Levo if he's playing, because the guy has energy. So, but those guys don't match up to McDavid, Draisaitl levels, obviously. But definitely a lot of good lines out there. But I gotta say, statistically, the Oilers have it. It's there. And all because of 97 more so than 29.
Well, I mean, it's tough to disagree based on
like
Connor McDavid being there. But just on like a straight interest factor, because you already touched on the Leafs, I'd like to know, just based on like Calgary's recent success, I'd like to know. Like
when you got
you'd have
Boudreaux, Monahan, and Hanifin out there.
And then their second line, you'd still have you got a
Kachuk. Who's the other guy?
I got Lindholm, who's playing on that unit with Monahan and Boudreaux, who's having a career season.
I really do think they'd be interesting, and I think Winnipeg's another one that's also, when they're healthy. I mean, they're not going to stand up to Edmonton's levels, but Winnipeg's quick, they can score, but they're also
Shifley,
they're really
Wiley.
smart with the puck.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
they don't.
No.
There's certain teams where Winnipeg this year plays with a certain maturity that some of the other teams don't have. Other teams can outscore the pants off you, but Winnipeg settles down a game sometimes, and it's fascinating to watch them do that.
Friend of the show, Paul Maurice.
Best stat about the 3-on-3 is number 3 in the points right now is Taylor Hall. So imagine we still had him.
What about
But you
Jordan
have
Eberle? How
Larson.
much are we gonna Oh God.
What's that?
Moving
have
on,
Larson.
fellas. Next thing that we'll go to quickly and sticking with lines kind of thing. NHL Super Lines. NHL's turning into top units. Power play, I see this more or less. I think, especially when you talk about the Leafs with Tavares, Matthews, Marner, Riley out there right now, and also on that first line on a power play with them is
It was Marner, Matthews,
Marner, Tavares, Riley,
Riley, and
producer goals with that.
Frank.
Producer goals will get us that fifth guy in there. I don't know how I forget. It's not Marlowe. It's not Hyman.
No, I think it's Kadri.
Kadri. It's Kadri. There you go. Kadri. Thank you very much. Justin got that before Producer Ghost did. That's good. Kadri. That's the best super line right now in the league. Stats prove that. Right now it's just on power play percentage alone. Yesterday proved that alone itself. They are trending in that direction when it comes to getting those on the power play and PK. But making lines, Boston is a different cookie. We got Bergeron, Marchand, Pasternak playing together, who absolutely eat Toronto alive and almost any team they play with. Other than that, everyone's like, okay, where is this team? Where's David Krejci? He's either hurt or playing. Never mind with David Krejci right now, but besides the point, super lines are a thing if you're deep enough third and fourth line-wise. Your second line's got to be a line that can shut down the other team's first line. Oh, sorry, the other team's second line as well. Your third line is what's shutting down the first line a lot if they're deep enough. Toronto Kadri's usually out there against Crosby or Malkin. Other teams, if they're not deep enough, it's your second line covering that first line. So I'm going to say right now, super lines are a thing. I would gear it more towards special teams. Boston uses it all on 5-on-5. It's because all the other players are two-way forwards that can find the net, and they're all similar type styles. Where that number one line that they have is different, and that's why they're so different and exciting to watch. Same with Colorado. Rantanen, Landeskog, and McKinnon, same criteria as Boston's following.
Best line in hockey.
That is the best line in hockey right now, and it's working for them. However, Toronto, it's working as well, but the Edmonton Oilers making a super line, that doesn't really help the Oilers because of their depth on their forwards. We were just watching a guy named, I can't even recall his name on the interview. He even sat there in the living room saying, who is this guy? I know everyone on Toronto because they've made their names. I know every guy almost on Boston because Toronto's lost in the freaking playoffs last year. But besides the point.
Edmonton's super line is McDavid and his two socks.
Yeah, but super lines are a thing. Fellas, quick, go around the table. We got about 18 minutes left on the show, and we still got a break and some more topics to jump into. So, Justin, Dane, super lines.
I mean, it seems like a very NBA thing from like 2 years ago. The NHL is just late to the party. But I don't.
Different sport.
I know. I was trying to make more of a joke there, but it kind of.
I got
you. I don't know. Some teams the super line things work. Some teams doesn't. I mean, Boston's more. Every player on that team plays with a chip on their shoulder almost, and that's their key to success. I find that more teams are intimidated by Boston, and if Boston's in their head, maybe this is just a Toronto thing. But certain teams play hard against Boston, and certain teams just get rolled by Boston all the time. Regardless what players they have, Boston always plays the same style of hockey.
Yeah, they do. They absolutely do. Dane.
Yeah, I mean, it works until it doesn't work. I think
Yeah.
it just makes the coach's job a little bit easier, especially when you're throwing out players on the power play, rather than picking players from this line and this line to complete your power play unit. Your first line just is your first line power play unit. I mean, clearly it's working for teams like Colorado, Boston. The Stars have been doing it with Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin for the past couple of years. And I kind of disagree with you in Edmonton. I just don't think Edmonton has a depth in general to have Nugent Hopkins or Draisaitl run their own line. Alex Chason's been great this year. He has 10 goals in 18 games he's been here. But other than that, there's only so many players in the league, like Crosby, McDavid, Malkin, a couple other guys that can, truly play with nobodies and carry a line. So I think that's kind of why Edmonton's in a situation where it's like, you're kind of all or nothing in the sense that, put McDavid and Draisaitl together because, they're probably going to get 2-3 goals in that game. But if you, maybe break that line up and have Draisaitl on the second line playing with Chason and Lucic or whoever it is at the time, they're not as successful. And I think once Edmonton can get a couple guys to, put around, Nugent Hopkins and Draisaitl that are actually viable NHL players and not all like 4 or 5.
Too bad Taylor Hall's not that guy.
Too bad Taylor Hall's not
that guy.
Draisaitl would never play with McDavid if we had a guy like that. I mean, were we a little quick on the gun to trade Everly? I know it was definitely like a money thing. We needed to drop a little bit of salary to sign some guys, but I think it might just be a trend right now. I think, the NHL bounces back and forth, and like I said, it works until it doesn't work. You could see some balancing of the lines come maybe later on in the year, closer to playoff time. The NHL is a long grind, and you might have to kind of, balance out your team a little bit in the playoffs.
Sound like a little bit of an upset Edmonton fan there, just a little bit.
I'm bitter.
Just a little bitter. Fellas, quick break. You're listening to David McCaig alongside Justin Hykel and Dane Hanchrow on the Twin Cities' only local regional national sports show, The Game Sports Show, live at Northern Superior Brewing Company for our Thursday edition of The Game Sports Show. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more National Hockey League. We got about 16 minutes left on the show before we wrap up here tonight. A couple more topics involving our multiple choice segment. And we're also going to be talking about MLB, a little bit of bonus discussion with Josh Donaldson joining the Atlanta Braves and that press conference that he had and his laugh. We might talk about that too. Right back here on The Game. Welcome back to The Game Sports Show. You're listening to The Game Sports Show on thegamesportshow.com, thegamesportshow.podbean.com, or on the Scott Nason YouTube channel. It may have also been directed through our Facebook page at The Game Sports Show or through our newly launched Instagram page at The Game Sports Show SSM. Either way, thank you for joining us here tonight. One more part of the show before we wrap up. We got some more NHL to discuss, and picking up where we left off, fellas, we're going to jump into a topic that is pretty interesting. NHL teams having no captain. Detroit, Ottawa, Toronto, Vancouver, Vegas, Rangers. Now, going around the table, getting some thoughts from everybody on what team is the most important maybe to have a captain currently, and also who may become the next Maple Leaf captain. But we're going to save the Maple Leaf captain for a multiple choice segment, just a little teaser for that. Just thoughts all around in terms of the captaincies being vacant, how that's almost became a thing in the National Hockey League where people aren't rushing to do it. People don't care to give somebody the seat. You just wear a bunch of A's and you figure it out until it's done. That's what Toronto's been doing for a number of years since they moved Dion Phaneuf to the Ottawa Senators just under a handful of years ago. And now Zetterberg retiring in Detroit. Vancouver, the Sedins moving on from that. Vegas with Engelhart. Wow, am I talking racing here? England being there. The Ottawa Senators without Erik Karlsson. You have the New York Rangers with Ryan McDonough, who got traded to Tampa Bay Lightning last year. A couple of players not there, and the teams didn't change it for their captains. Just thoughts from the table. Justin, you first.
I mean, it seems to be an era now where players are a lot more expendable than they used to be. There's not really anyone that's untradeable. No trade clauses don't mean anything. So it's tough for teams to put a C on a jersey and face the fan backlash a year or two later when they trade that player. It's easier to just have a bunch of A's going around, and until you find that sort of generational player like the Zetterbergs or the Niedermayers that are going to be with one or two teams for their entire career,
Yep.
you don't throw the C on their jersey.
Nope.
I really don't see the need to rotate in and out captains when you want that position to hold some sort of prestige.
Dane, I'm going to jump in and say this right now in terms of Toronto's the one that obviously sticks out a lot because a handful of years have been waiting, and you bring in Tavares and everyone's like, give the guy the C. Give it to him now. He's signed. That must be a part of the contract. Or Matthews, everyone who saw as the face of the Maple Leafs organization, and I still do because of how young he is. I've always been a fan of not just filling that seat for any kind of bullshit reason, I want to say. But I like having it by now based on how the team is expected to do and kind of with the level that they're at. And how Patrick Marleau doesn't have the C is what kind of upsets me. My points why is the media attention is all about give it to Tavares, give it to Matthews. Why not just say shove it in the face of the media, us included, and say why don't you just give it to somebody, just shut up the media. It shuts them up for a year or 2 years. Marleau stays there for a year or two, he retires. It grooms Tavares to get used to Toronto, or it allows Matthews to grow and be that true leader that he is to be behind Patrick Marleau. Give Matthews the A along with Tavares and Riley. Those are your three guys. No offense to Mitch Marner, as much as good that he is, and how good of an Instagram poster that he is in terms of singing the YMCA with Marleau's kids. In terms of being a leader in the room, Marleau's had to see in the National Hockey League. He's had A for a number of years. He's been the face of the San Jose Sharks alongside Jumbo Joe for over a decade plus. So how Patrick Marleau doesn't have the C in Toronto is kind of what boggles my mind a little bit. And people also wonder why Ron Hainsey doesn't, because of his leadership. Two different kind of levels. I think Marleau's had the C before. He can handle the pressure. And he needs somebody to go up there to potentially get the cup this year or next year if it is the case, if that does happen for Toronto. Not saying it is, but I think it'd be good to have a C going into the playoffs this year based on the team that they have. It's got to be Patrick Marleau. We look at Detroit, Ottawa, Vancouver, Vegas, or Rangers, though. Ottawa doesn't surprise me because of the quickness of moving Karlsson. A lot of drama there in that organization right now, having a captain's on their mind. Detroit, Zetterberg unexpectedly retired this year. Another thing that just came up. So another thing that can wait till next year, if not the year after. Vancouver, you lose Sedin last year. They have a lot of young guys there. They don't have true guys who could maybe take over that leadership role. Again, you wait till next year with that. Vegas, unexpected too. You kind of lose someone after last year. And the same thing goes for the Rangers. You lose somebody last year. Give it the year if you have to. I'm fine with that. But Toronto is the only team that really upsets me that doesn't have one right now, to be kind of honest with you. And that also kind of answers what my multiple choice question is going to be. But it also shortens my question, or it shortens my answer when that time comes. Dane, final thoughts on this topic before we go to our next one.
Yeah, a couple things. I think if you look at the teams that don't have a captain right now, they are young teams. And big market teams. So, I mean, you don't want to pressure a guy to be a captain in Toronto if they're not ready. I feel like, the media and just the fans, it's a lot of responsibility. And yeah, if you're Detroit or Vancouver or Toronto or even Ottawa, I mean, you have young growing teams. I don't think you need to rush anybody to be a captain. And you know what? It's not out of the realm of possibility that maybe Tavares was asked to be captain at the start of the year, and maybe he didn't want that right away. I think, if you look at Vancouver, I think Bo Horvat's the guy. I could see that happening in a year, but rather than having one guy to look up to, you have a bunch of leaders on your team, and you're not pinpointing, that's one certain player that that's who you're gonna follow, into the trenches. You have a whole team, right? Hockey's a team sport, so I'm not.
Not Brock Besser?
No, I think Bo Horvat's showing that he's been a leader at a younger age. They put an A on his jersey when he was 21, 22 for a reason. I think he's definitely going to be the next captain of the Vancouver Canucks. And I don't think it's really that big of a deal. I know, in Toronto, Dion Phaneuf might be on his third team by the end of the season before, the Toronto Maple Leafs make a new captain. But I don't think there's any rush. Toronto's obviously doing good without a captain. I know, the Leafs fans want one. It's coming. I don't know who it's going to be. I have my own ideas who I want it to be or who it should be. But if you don't have the right player to be your captain, I don't think you should force it. I think if you look in a situation like San Jose where, Marleau was the captain for a bit, and then he wasn't, then Thornton was, and then Thornton wasn't. And it's not because these guys got traded where the captaincy became available. It was just, players up and coming that, maybe deserved it more, or were more leaders on the team. So, I mean, don't force the C on anybody, not in these big markets where, there's so much media attention, and you got to be a guy that's good at talking to the media. You could say the wrong thing, and then you're in the newspaper the next day, and then that's the only thing your team hears. Mike Babcock's a smart guy. Mike Babcock's the captain right now. Who talks to the media? It's Mike Babcock. Toronto hasn't had to go through any controversy yet this year. But when that time comes, I'm sure Mike Babcock is going to take the reins, with the media. And I don't think, Tavares, that's, the pick that everybody, thinks that should be captain. Him or Matthews. Matthews is too young. Tavares hasn't been in Toronto yet long enough to, be the captain and, have to talk with the media all the time. So I don't think it's a big deal. I think it's definitely a different trend than it was back in the day. I think, you lose your captain, you make a captain right after. And I don't mind seeing 3 A's on the ice instead of 2 A's and a C. I just think, it brings more leadership to the team in the sense that you have, instead of one person to look at, you got 3 guys to,
Look
help
at.
you. Yeah.
Different points, fellas, like that. We're going to jump right into our multiple choice segment as yours truly just spilled an alcoholic beverage on the floor here at Northern Superior Brewing Company. Going to get the cleanup crew in here, which is myself using a napkin to wipe on the floor and making sure nobody else does extra work around here. We're going to get into the multiple choice segment. We have 2 points we're going to bring up before we go into Josh Donaldson going over to the Atlanta Braves quickly before we wrap up the show tonight. And the points that we're going to bring up for the multiple choice segment, we have 3 questions that we're going to bring up. We'll quickly go around the table. If anyone remembers what the multiple choice segment is, why don't you just rewind back to the Boston Pizza days back in April before Dane left for Red Lake, where we had our multiple choice segments. It's where I list a question and a bunch of different options, and you choose an option and quickly, in less than 15 seconds or less, explain your reasoning. And the first question, get into the multiple choice segment, powered by Northern Superior Brewing Company and Icebreaker Sports Bar and Grill. Fighting in the NHL for the first question is down 20% in the last year. The Yotes, which are the Coyotes, and the Philadelphia Flyers are yet to drop the gloves. Now, fighting. This is going to be a quick answer. Quick options between A and B. Is fighting done in the National Hockey League, and are you happy with it? Yes or no? Justin. Then Dane, you can follow up Justin.
I don't think it's done, but there's definitely still a place for it. Like I said, Toronto doesn't have enough grit and won't make them last in the playoffs. You're not going to get past Boston. You're not going to get past Washington if you don't have a little bit of sandpaper to go against sandpaper. So there's still a place for fighting, but there's so much scoring in the game that it doesn't need to be the attention drawer anymore. Move it over to Dane.
Yeah, absolutely, Justin. It's obviously trending into a spot where it's not as important as it used to be. And like a great point, I think, if you look at the game today with, the goal scoring and like the superstars that we have, you get to watch guys like McCaig and Matthews and there's so many players out there. We saw Crosby and Malkin are still very, very relevant players. And I think this is the most exciting the NHL has been in a very long time. I mean, you don't have to build your product off of, the fighting and just all the goons, you know what I mean? So I don't think it's ever going to be a part of the league. I think, everybody that watches hockey certainly loves to watch a fight here and there. I don't think it needs to be like it was in the 90s where, like the Detroit Red Wings and Colorados are having bench brawls off in the playoffs all the time, and I think that's what made hockey exciting in America, especially.
Just not to cut you off, just to touch on it again, just a tidbit I meant to mention earlier. This is the last year for Don Cherry's Rock'em Sock'em videos.
Oh no, really?
Yeah, Rock'em Sock'em 30 is going to be the last one.
So all in all, yes is your answer.
Oh no, I didn't.
No,
it's not done at all. There's just
good.
time and a place for it.
We agree in the sense that I think I think fighting will always be a part of the game of hockey, especially in the NHL. I just think it's just trending in a spot where it's just not as relevant and as important to the game and momentum swings.
As much as I agree with you guys, I'm going to say right now to answer the question, no, to agree, but I have a feeling in 5 years something's going to happen to fighting that's going to piss off a lot of hockey fans. Just based on the transition of minor hockey, it all starts there and projects that way and goes up that way.
But watching hockey, do you notice that there's not as many fights?
No.
Me and Justin were talking earlier that
No.
it hasn't been something where like, oh,
No.
I wish I could see a fight right now. I think the quality.
Sometimes wouldn't mind seeing a couple mitts dropped.
Obviously,
You know,
I just
but
think the quality and the product that the
Yep.
NHL's been putting on the ice is it's just exciting without fighting. But yeah, everybody doesn't mind an old Donnybrook here and there.
so technically a sweep, but I got a little fun fact in there saying I think it's eventually going to, sadly.
If Bobby Clark's Philadelphia Flyers aren't fighting, that's saying something.
Second question, fellas. Erik Karlsson's first game back in Ottawa. Does he get booed or does he get cheered?
Well, they have the same video tribute planned for him that they had for Mike Hoffman. So there's that. Eugene Melnick's busy suing other people, so he probably won't be around to screw that situation up. And also, Karlsson walked out in an interview in Toronto last night when asked about returning to Ottawa. So I think both sides care equally about the situation, and neither of them want it. It's like going to an ex-girlfriend and getting your stuff back.
So does he get cheered or not?
He probably will get cheered, but they cheered Mike Hoffman, so what does it matter?
Good point. I think he gets cheered, and I agree with Justin's point. Very good points, Justin. Dane?
Well, hopefully the Ottawa Senators have enough fans to show up to the games, and whether we can hear them cheer or boo. I think it's going to be a little bit of a mixed reaction, like anybody that's returning. At the end of the day, I think Erik Karlsson expressed many times that he wanted to stay in Ottawa. I mean, they were going through some shit.
No, there's more shit this year.
And you know what? I think if it wasn't for the play of Thomas Chabot this year, maybe there would be a little bit more mixed feelings. Erik Karlsson's not exactly lighting it up in San Jose, so maybe he does get a little bit more of a warm welcome based off of, it looks like Ottawa has their franchise defenseman. Did they know that before they traded Karlsson? I don't think so. I don't think they expected Thomas Chabot to be a point-per-game guy. But yeah, I think he gets cheered a little bit. I think, he played there for 8-9 years. He was their best player since Alfredson and Eder were there. So, yeah.
Clean sweep of yes, getting cheered. Next question. This goes back to the Leafs captaincy question. Like I said, this will be our last question in terms of hockey before we go to our final point with Donaldson going to the Braves and before we conclude our show tonight. If the Leafs give out a captain, we've had this question twice, back when we did Boston Pizza and back when we started here at Northern in the summer. Who gets the seat? A, Patrick Marleau. B, John Tavares. C, Austin Matthews. D, Nazem Kadri. Or E, other. 5 parts to that question. I'll go first because everyone already knows my answer. Patrick Marleau, A, I've already said the reasons why. Experience is there, has had it before. Groom, Tavares, or Matthews get prepared for Toronto and the media attention and to shut up the media, to choose one for a couple years, to worry about just signing Matthews and winning the cup. Dave.
I'll tell you this for free, 100% Marleau is not the next captain of Toronto.
No. Who should be?
I don't think he should be either, and I'll tell you why. It's been 4 or 5 years since the Leafs have had the captain. Marleau is on his way out of the league.
Yeah, give him 2 years. I don't know.
Yeah, but I don't think the Leafs want that. I think they want to actually finally have their captain, like the Matt Sundin that was the captain of the Leafs for how many years. And I think the obvious choice and the only choice is John Tavares. He's been a captain before. He's a veteran guy. I feel like the rest of the guys are too young to be captains in Toronto. With the media attention that they get, I think that's a little bit too much for them to handle. They got Mike Babcock there, Mike Babcock loves screwing around with the media. I love watching his interviews. He reminds me of Paul Maurice almost, a little bit of dry sense of humor. But yeah, I think it has to be Tavares, and I would say the second choice would be other, being Morgan Riley, a guy that's been there for a while. He's a defenseman. He carries that blue line, and I think if it was my choice, I think those were the 2 guys that I would name captain. But I think Toronto, the fans, and everything involved with the Maple Leafs are ready for their future captain. And I mean, Tavares can be the captain for the next couple of years, 7 years. I know he's only so old. The next 10 years, I guess, would be in Toronto. Then maybe make Matthews the captain, but. I think rotate an A with Marner and Matthews, give Riley a permanent A, and then Tavares should be the captain for the foreseeable future.
Justin, quickly on you.
I'm just going E, Morgan Riley.
One other.
He's been there. I mean, he was If I had to pick a second one, I'd say Kadri, but those two have been there basically from the beginning of what this transition was supposed to be. They've stuck through it. I mean, they went through the Phil Kessel solution, the James Van Riemsdyk solution. They were there for the entirety of. If Tyler Bozak was still there, I'd say Tyler Bozak, but he's not. So I'm saying Morgan Riley or Kadri. Both of them are hardened by the media now in Toronto. Probably Kadri more so than Riley, just because of the shit Kadri gets into, ripping Joe Thornton's beard out, stuff like that. But Riley really carries himself not like Dane and I talked about this beforehand, not like a hockey player in the media. He articulates his conversation. He gives you really decent answers when you're talking to him. And I think one of the things you're looking for in a captain is how he portrays the locker room to the media. And Morgan Riley doesn't seem like the kind of guy who's going to sell his team down the road there. That's,
Riley is definitely an interesting choice. I'm surprised no one brought Ron Hainsey, but again, it's another temporary thing. I think with Dane's point, he doesn't.
And that's the issue. I think temporary is not the way that the
Ron
Leafs are
Hainsey
gonna
has
go.
an expiry date on it, and his is closer than the sour cream in my fridge right now. So
I think certain teams can get away with making a veteran guy a captain just for a short period of time. I don't think that works in Toronto. I think the next captain is going to be the captain for a very long time.
It has to be a guy who earned the locker room's respect. It's not who earned the fans' respect. It's not who earned the media's respect. It's someone that the locker room puts trust in to represent them.
Well, and that's why Tavares isn't the captain this year.
Yeah.
I don't think you can, and not in Toronto of all teams. You can't just sign a guy that's never been there and expect him to lead 17 other players on the ice plus your two goalies night in and night out. And obviously, I think he has the respect
Ultimately,
of the rest of the team.
Nobody
but,
gets to see this year. Let's get real and say that. But
Oh,
it's the
no.
Leafs win a cup this year. If. Keyword fans, take it easy. If Freddie Anderson goes and gets the cup, is that not how it goes if you don't have a captain?
No, Patrick Marleau.
Patrick Marleau,
100%.
So why doesn't he get the C? For this year? We're going to leave it at
He's
that.
maybe been offered the C. Probably doesn't want it.
Maybe. Good point.
I could see that.
Good talks, fellas. That's the Hockey Talk here on the Game Sports Show live from Northern Superior Brewing Company. Dane Hanchrow. He likes to be called Dane Dillon if he's played MLB The Show 19. He likes to be called Dane Hanchrow if he's played Madden 18.
They don't have
And-
Hanchrow in the
And NHL 19, what are you in NHL 19? Dane Dillon?
Dane Dillon.
Dane Dillon 19.
Dylan's
Hykel-
an option for your
Dillon,
last
okay.
name. Hanchrow's not in there.
Fun little fact. Hykel, I don't know what yours is. I bet you it's just Justin Kessel.
No. I use my name and make them say H.
Oh, okay. I have actually McCaig in there. I'm lucky because of Greg McCaig for NHL. For football and baseball, though, they do have it in baseball, but they don't have it in the football games. If you don't know what the hell we're talking about Be a Pro modes in PS4, Xbox world. Fellas, last topic we're going to bring up to here before we wrap up is baseball. Wait a second. It's winter outside. We're talking baseball? Yes, we are. We got a little bit of updates when it comes to MLB. We do talk baseball on this show, and we have 2 points I want to bring up quickly. One that I'm going to spear out quickly is with the Toronto Blue Jays. Contracts are coming up. Devin Travis, Ivana Solarte. They have to be decided by Friday evening. Let me make this quite simple for you. You keep Solarte, get rid of that Band-Aid Devin Travis. Pretty freaking simple. You got Gurriel Jr. there. You've already moved Diaz. You got some youth coming up. I think you let Travis go. And you bring back Solarte. What an impressive year by Solarte. I like to call him Salalsa. I don't know why. The little nickname I gave him, Salalsa, does a little jiggy, a little dance, show a little salsa out there is kind of what the term is. Bring him back. Now, Kevin Pillar, do you bring him back? Love Kevin Pillar. You've got to bring him back for another year or two. Be around those guys. I like Kevin. He brings back a lot of rear ends in that seat as well and sells a lot of jerseys. I know Shapiro and Atkins are thinking business right now as they haven't shown that they're thinking about making this team better, as they show that they're trying to make this team grow. But I haven't really seen a lot of things that they've done to make this team grow as Vlad and Bo Bichette were there part of previous installments. So I'm calling you out, Atkins and Shapiro. Do something with this team. As somebody named Alex Anthopoulos made a little bit of a splash. Bringing back Josh Donaldson, and not with the Toronto Blue Jays. He signs a 1-year, $23 million contract with the Atlanta Braves.
Pending a physical.
which I'm 100% certain he'll pass. He did play the year in Cleveland, finished the year in Cleveland. I like the Atlanta Braves. They bring back Donaldson, or so they bring in Darryl Donaldson. They bring back McCann. They got veterans around that young squad. The Braves are already favorites almost in the NL this year to come out. Early predictions, but Dane, since this is kind of the baseball era, is definitely more your end in terms of covering. If being a Cardinals fan that you are and a deep inside Blue Jays fan, but what does the Donaldson signing for the Braves do? Why did Atlanta have to do this? Was it making them better all around the lineup? Or did Alex Anthopoulos just have a little bit of sweet love for Donaldson because he is the guy that traded Brett Lawrie straight up for the MVP, Josh Donaldson?
I mean, Atlanta has a good young team. I feel like adding a veteran presence. Josh Donaldson, like, other than his bat, like, he's a pretty good third baseman defensively when he's healthy, right?
When?
What do you mean?
When he's healthy.
Oh, well, yeah, when he's healthy, yeah.
His calf might pull. He might have pulled his calf walking up the podium.
If you look at the NL, I think there's a lot of good young teams trending upwards. If you look at the Phillies, maybe
Manny Machado, buddy.
Maybe Atlanta's just trying to get a leg up on the Phillies.
That's where Manny's going.
I like the move. 1 year deal, kind of what I expected from Donaldson with his injuries right now. I think it's a good move, and I think the Atlanta Braves probably got that division locked this year. But that's a division where teams are good 1 year and then go to shit the next year, and then they're consistently inconsistent, I would say.
I like the 1 year deal with Donaldson. They didn't get trapped there in Atlanta, which I think was big. Justin, right? You know, if you're getting the big contracts, kind of could tire up your payroll, especially the Braves being young. And again, it's kind of the same philosophy. Comes to hockey or basketball or any kind of sport, you have a young team, you want to sign these guys, bring in a veteran like Donaldson who's coming back after an injury-filled year. You know, you bring them for 1 year, definitely might be more beneficial than 3.
Yeah, I still think what are they, 25 million 1 year?
23 million, yeah. 23, yeah.
I mean, that's
That's
pretty,
baseball money.
I guess it seems pretty steep because Atlanta's not a big money team, are they?
Yeah, they fluctuate. It's there.
It's
there. So it's Toronto's the market, though, that people forget that actually do have a lot of money. I don't know. I'm not saying they're going to do anything because I'm going to speak about money right now with quickly. Manny Machado, Bryce Harper. This is just out today. Executives think that Bryce Harper is going to be re-signing with the Nationals. Manny Machado will be going to the Philadelphia Phillies. Boston, New York, and the Dodgers are out on both Harper and Machado. And no Blue Jay fans, we didn't have a fucking chance getting any of those guys. Machado to the Phillies. Love it. Lock it in. It's happening. Harper re-signed with the Nationals. Screw it. I'm saying the execs are wrong. I think he's going to go somewhere under the radar. I don't know why I'm going that route. I don't think it's Boston. I don't think it's New York. I like St. Louis. I like Milwaukee for Harper. I know they got Yelich out there and Kane. Why not add Bryce Harper?
St. Louis has the room. I think, haven't made the playoffs last year.
If I had to choose, I'm going St. Louis because they do have the money.
That's not the St. Louis way. The Cardinals are always a playoff team, and I think in a tough division with Milwaukee and the Cubs, I think they got to make a splash.
How are the Cubs in this running? Where are the Cubs? Are they going for the little snooze? Going for the hibernation right now?
The Cubs have a lot of money locked up in some of their players.
Yeah,
right
they
now,
do.
So,
yes, they do.
Yeah, I like St. Louis. I'd love to see Bryce Harper in St. Louis. Bring us back to the glory days.
So last thing, because we got a little overtime, are the Jays active this offseason or not?
No, I think the Jays should sit another year before they need to come relevant again.
So just make that move, fill the roster?
Yeah, I think Vladdy plays the start of the year in AAA again.
Good answer.
And slowly bring him up, and depending on how he does, you don't want to put yourself in a position where you're kind of relevant and you might need to depend on a player like Vladimir Guerrero and have to rush his development. Clearly, his development is going very well in baseball right now. I think he's the best baseball prospect in the MLB right now, or one of the best.
Yeah.
So I think as much flack that Atkins and Shapiro got,
especially from me right now. Especially from me.
You got to look at Alec Anthopoulos. Gave this team a window to win, and he left because he knew they were going to be in a rebuild stage. You can't trade away all your prospects.
But how's a rebuild stage a 2-year winning window and you lose though? Maybe we can save that topic for another day.
The goal wasn't to lose, obviously. They were so close to going to the World Series 2 years in a
They
row,
should've-
and that's what the organization decided, that we have a team in place. We're gonna go for it, and it obviously didn't work out. It was lovely watching us beat the shit out of the Texans 2 series in a row. I hate the Texans.
Rangers.
Texans,
Yeah,
sorry,
it's
the
okay.
Rangers. Bringing back to the days when they played the Cardinals.
Oh, Bautista backflip, man. Oh,
David Freese.
oh,
Game
David
6
Freese,
is
there
one
you
of the
go.
best one of the baseball games I've ever watched. So
It's almost like the Leafs. The Jays never had a bullpen. That's why they didn't beat the Royals or the Indians. Someone named Andrew Miller came out and he shook his left arm, and it loaded. It was like the Thanos gauntlet. It is loaded with power.
pitching's hard, man.
It
Especially
is.
in the bullpen. You got a guy that can have an ERA of
10,000.
1.5 and pitches 60 innings in a season, 70 innings. And then the next year, the guy
Look
can't
at
hit- the
Hader
guy
on
can't
Milwaukee
get it out.
this year. Guy
Can't
was
get it out.
fucking lights out. Bullpen's huge in the MLB. Well, fellas, did a little bit of overtime. It's time to wrap on up. Producer Ghost and Scott Nason in my ear saying, okay, we're at the 28-minute mark here. We're only supposed to do 15, and they've been giving me the okay for the last 5 minutes, and I hit the old mute button on them as we've been going into a little extra time here at Northern Superior Brewing Company. I will say we apologize to listeners that we did not have a show yesterday at Sports Center Bar and Grill. We did have a cancellation as Dustin Gronin, Jamie Antonello, and Matt Primo were in Ottawa. And the Cora Colts won OFSA. The Cora Colts won OFSA. I didn't save that at the beginning. I saved the best news for last. That's my philosophy with this. The Cora Colts won OFSA. The Game Sports Show has been on coverage with Matt, Dustin, and Jamie. We're going to save everything all at once, and when we go back to Sports Center on Wednesday next week, we are going to be bringing in those interviews and bringing everything all in one. We were unable to do something this week, and a Wednesday edition of a show, no offense to my boys here, Justin and Dane, is nothing without having Preems and Anto there for the football segments, the coaches of Cora. Congratulations to the fellas over there for winning OFSA. Very excited for sure. I know I had some friends win OFSA with it done, and it was a very proud moment with them as well. So congratulations to Cora with that. On Wednesday, we will have our wrap-up with that. And going into the rest of this week and into next, we will have our special edition upload on Sunday. We'll be at Icebreakers on Friday covering the Birds and the Beavers. And we'll be throughout the rinks at the ranking with the Soo College Cougars, as we plan to do a lot more coverage with that and some pre- and post-game coverage. And then Sunday, Brad Kochmiller will recap the Hounds and the Thunderbirds throughout the weekend, and we'll make it all one upload and have it uploaded to you by Sunday night, Monday morning, powered by Northern Superior Brewing Company and brought to you by Icebreaker Sports Bar in Sault Ste. Marie. Next week on Monday, we will be at the Wicked Sister as planned, 6 to 7 live on radio, 7 to 8 podcasted. As I mentioned, next Wednesday, at Sports Center Bar and Grill, as always, and then Northern Superior Brewing Company. We will be here next week on Thursday at 7:15 as we plan to bring in Mike Hall, hopefully coach of the Soo College Cougars, and amongst other possible guests, as well as we wrap up some local and professional hockey and baseball news if necessary as well. I want to say thanks to Dane, and I want to say thanks to Justin. Dane, who did step out. Justin, see you next week.
Yeah, I'll be here, Dave. Anytime.
Bells are ringing. Now that Dane had to answer an important phone call, bring on over. Dane, we will see you back at the apartment, but next week as well.
Yeah, I'll be back, and I'll also be at the apartment in a short time from now.
And we'll have William Nylander news next week, all wrapped up finally. I want to say thanks to you, the listeners, for making us a part of your night. Thanks to Scott Nason, our board operator tonight. Thanks to Blake Winter and Northern Superior Brewing Company for the hospitality, as always, fantastic. And sorry for spilling the beer on the floor. I like to make my mark where I go. That is how I do things. Make sure you follow the Game Sports Show on the Podbean page, YouTube channel, or on the website. Don't hesitate to veer over and look at our merchandise section. $25 for t-shirts, proceeds going towards Northern Careers in Need and Big Brother, Big Sister. And finally, speaking of those sponsors, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors: Northern Superior Brewing Company, Icebreaker Sports Bar, Silver Creek Golf Course, the Wicked Sister, Pingator Cleaners, North Shore Sports and Auto, the Salon, the Superior Pro Shop, Northern Careers in Need, Big Brother, Big Sister, Northern Science, Chem Belanger Hockey, the Discover the Canvas, and also the Sioux Thunderbirds and Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds organizations, respectfully, as well. Listeners, I want to say thanks again for making us a part of your night. And as I mentioned, until this weekend and until next time on the Game Sports Show, make sure to keep your stick on the ice, swing your bat, catch your touchdown, drain your threes, and shoot your shots. Booyah.